Domestic Daydreams cleaning routine versus the Flylady cleaning routine. Which routine is better for you, and what's the difference between the two? Well, that's what we're covering today. Hi Domestic Darlings, I'm Cheyenne Bullock. I run the blog, YouTube, and Instagram Domestic Daydreams, where my goal is to help you transform your home into the safe haven for those that you love, whether you're a working, stay-at-home, or single gal who just wants to find the joy in homemaking again. Well, many of you have probably heard of the Flylady system, and while you may know that I have my own cleaning method and system that I use and have information on, it may not be the routine for you. And my goal isn't to sell you a routine, but to help you find the best systems to transform your home into a safe place to land for the people that you care about most. All right, I'll quit chattering and get down to the nitty-gritty, starting with Flylady versus Domestic, the routines. First up, Flylady. She is a routine that has every day 3 routines that you can go through. I think one is optional: morning, afternoon, and evening routines. Now, how does this compare to Domestic Daydreams? Well, Domestic Daydreams, there's a morning routine, an optional evening routine, weekly tasks, and a zone system. The weekly tasks and the zone system are built into the morning routine, so they're not additional tasks. Flylady's routine has a morning routine with 6 tasks, an afternoon routine with 4 tasks, an evening routine with 6 tasks, but sometimes there's more or less depending, with weekly tasks and a zone system. Her weekly tasks and zone system are also built into one of those 3 routines, but if you just do the morning and the evening, you might miss out on one of those tasks. All right, let's get into Flylady's versus Domestic, the afternoon routine. For Flylady's afternoon routine, she has you drink your water, ask yourself what's for dinner so that you can pull out any needed ingredients and plan ahead, reboot your laundry, whether that's transferring clothes from the washer to the dryer or maybe folding some items, and then she has you do 15 minutes of zone cleaning. We're going to get into zone cleaning and what that system is a little bit more in a second, so keep that in the back of your mind. Now, how does this compare to Domestic Daydreams? Well, while Flylady's afternoon routine tells you to drink your water, ask what's for dinner, reboot the laundry, and do 15 minutes of zone cleaning, there's no afternoon routine for Domestic Daydreams. Instead, the zone cleaning and whatever weekly task you're on is included in your morning routine. Now, what about the evening routines? Well, let's get into it, starting with Flylady's evening routine. Now for the evening routine. As part of the evening routine, Flylady has you shine your sink, which is probably one of the most famous tips as part of the Flylady system. That means that you wash and clear out your sink of any dirty dishes, and then you go through and you wash and polish or shine your sink as well so that it's nice and clean and ready for you in the morning. The next thing she has you do is set up what she calls a launch pad, and that's where she makes sure that you have anything that you need for the next day. You make sure your keys, your purse and wallet, anything, if you have special events that you're trying to go to, any of that is all set up and ready to go. Maybe you have a homemaking binder or journal. She does either sell or offer free printables that she recommends including in a control journal, is what she calls it, to help keep you on track. You might want to put that there. That's kind of the gist of the Launchpad system. Next, you'll lay out your clothes for the next day. Then you'll clear what she calls hot spots, which is basically any of the spots in your home or especially your bedroom that tend to build up. Usually there's like a chair that clothes tend to gather on, or a dresser top that's particularly crazy, or a counter, maybe it's by your front or back door, or a spot, the couch in the living room. Whatever those hot spots are that consistently just gather clutter like a magnet and get dirty over the day, you're going to rush around and clean those up really quick so that you can start the next day with a clean, fresh take on it. She says this should only take a few minutes. And then you're going to end your evening routine by checking your calendar and going to bed at a decent hour. All right, let's do a quick comparison of Flylady's evening tasks versus Domestic's evening routine. So for Domestic's evening routine, you spend a few minutes clearing the clutter. Then you put away the laundry that you just did in the morning. You do the dishes from dinner and start the dishwasher. You spot, sweep / mop any high traffic areas of your floors that might be looking a little crummy. And then you do a little bit of self-care. You'll notice that only 2 of these tasks, floors and self-care, are different than the morning tasks. Flylady has you shine your sink, which could mean doing your dishes as well, And then set out your launch pad, lay out clothes, clean your hot spots, which is similar to clearing clutter in the Domestic Daydreams routine. Check your calendar and get to bed at a decent hour. Something that's great about the Flylady routine is it builds self-care into your routine. And so that's something we wanted to have a few minutes for at the end of the night in the domestic routine too. All right, let's break down the pros and cons of each routine. With Domestic Daydreams, there's 1 to 2 routines each day, whereas with Flylady, there's 2 to 3 routines each day. Something else is that Domestic Daydreams has a paid app and audio routines that feature the true crime shows Dragnet from the 1950s and the 1950s suspense radio show, where you're able to listen to the stories in the show while I guide you through your cleaning tasks. But it is a paid app at $15 a month, whereas Flylady has a free app plus paid mentoring that can be a monthly fee. But a pro for both is that you can do the routine on your own without having to purchase anything. Something else is that both routines have a little bit of self-care built in, with Flylady having more self-care tasks like getting dressed to shoes and putting on your makeup being part of the routine, and remembering to drink your water, go to bed at an early time, etc. All right, my next Battle of the Cleaning Routines video, I'll be comparing Flylady versus Domestic Daydreams zone system. See you next time, domestic darlings.